Elon Musk had always been a man of innovation and surprises, but this time he was embarking on a journey far removed from his usual escapades in rocket science, electric cars, and futuristic technology. The idea had struck him one evening during a heated discussion with friends about social inequality, law enforcement, and the treatment of the underprivileged in modern society. Always one to go beyond words, Musk decided to experience the issue firsthand. What better way to understand the plight of the homeless and test the true nature of humanity, especially the behavior of law enforcement, than to become one of them? Before we start, smash the like and subscribe buttons for more updates. Elon's plan was audacious, to say the least. He assembled a small, trusted team to ensure his disguise would be impeccable. With the help of Hollywood makeup artists and costume designers, he transformed himself into a scruffy, weather-worn homeless man. His trademark sharp suits and iconic Tesla-branded gear were replaced with layers of mismatched, tattered clothing. His face was obscured by a scraggly beard, fake scars, and dirt carefully smudged in strategic places. To perfect the look, Musk even learned to hunch his shoulders and shuffle his feet, practicing for hours until he could convincingly mimic the physical demeanor of someone burdened by years of hardship. The day arrived when Elon, unrecognizable even to close friends, stepped out onto the streets of Los Angeles. He carried with him nothing but a small backpack containing essentials for the night, a piece of cardboard with a hastily scrawled plea for help, and a determination to uncover truths that his billionaire status had always shielded him from. The first hours were sobering. As Musk wandered through busy streets and alleys, he was ignored by hundreds of passers-by. Some avoided his gaze deliberately. Others crossed the street to avoid coming too close. A few muttered curses under their breath when he inadvertently got in their way. The indifference was startling, even to a man who prided himself on being prepared for the unexpected. It wasn't until late afternoon that he had his first interaction with law enforcement. Two police officers approached him as he sat slumped against a wall in a bustling shopping district. They didn't bother to hide their disdain, one of them tapping his baton against his palm as he spoke. "Hey, buddy!" the officer barked. "You can't sit here! Move along!" Elon raised his head, his face an artful mask of weariness and resignation. "I'm just resting my feet. I'll leave in a minute." The officer scoffed. "I said, move along now or you'll be moving to a jail cell." Before Musk could respond, a woman who had been passing by intervened. She looked to be in her mid-30s, dressed in business attire and clearly in a hurry. "Is this really necessary?" she asked, her voice firm. "He's not hurting anyone." The officers exchanged glances, and one of them muttered something under his breath before turning away. The woman helped Elon to his feet, pressing a crumpled $20 bill into his hand before hurrying off. For the first time that day, Musk felt a glimmer of hope in humanity. As night fell, Elon set up his makeshift sleeping spot in a quiet alleyway, wrapping himself in a thin blanket provided by a local shelter. The city seemed to transform after dark, the streets becoming both more desolate and more dangerous. He witnessed a group of teenagers harassing an older homeless man, their laughter echoing cruelly in the empty streets. Musk wanted to intervene, but he knew it would blow his cover. Instead, he made a mental note to find the man later and offer him help. The next day brought new challenges. At a crowded intersection, Elon held up his cardboard sign, hoping to elicit some kindness from the morning rush hour crowd. Most drivers avoided looking at him, their faces set in stone. But then, a sleek black Tesla Model X rolled to a stop at the light. The driver, a young man in a sharp suit, rolled down the window and handed Elon a protein bar and a bottle of water. "Hang in there, man," the driver said before speeding off. Musk couldn't help but smile at the irony of receiving charity from someone driving one of his own creations. The day took a dramatic turn when Musk ventured into a less affluent neighborhood, hoping to see how law enforcement operated in different parts of the city. He chose a busy corner outside a liquor store to sit and observe. Within an hour, a police car pulled up, and two officers stepped out. Unlike the officers from the previous day, these two seemed genuinely concerned. "Are you okay, sir?" one of them asked. His tone was gentle, almost fatherly. Elon nodded. "Just trying to get by." The officer knelt beside him, offering a small bag of food and a list of nearby shelters. "It's tough out here. Stay safe, okay?" This interaction stood in stark contrast to his earlier experience, and Musk began to realize the complexity of the issue. Law enforcement, like any institution, was a mixed bag, influenced by individual personalities, training, and perhaps even the socio-economic context of the neighborhoods they served. The climax of Elon's experiment came on the third night when he found himself in the middle of an escalating conflict. A group of homeless individuals had gathered under a freeway overpass, sharing stories, food, and makeshift warmth. Suddenly, a police raid descended upon them, officers shouting orders and shining flashlights in their faces. The scene was chaotic, with some people complying while others protested vehemently. Musk stayed quiet, observing from the sidelines, but he couldn't remain a passive spectator for long. A young man, barely out of his teens, was being pinned to the ground by two officers, his cries of pain echoing in the night. Something snapped within Musk. He stepped forward, shouting, "Let him go! He didn't do anything wrong!" The officers turned their attention to him, one of them shoving him backward. "Stay out of this, old man, or you're next!" Unbeknownst to the officers, one of Elon's team members, who had been secretly monitoring the experiment from a distance, was recording the entire incident. The situation escalated further when one officer attempted to arrest Musk, twisting his arm behind his back. The team member revealed himself, stepping in with undeniable proof of Musk's true identity. The officers froze, their expressions a mixture of disbelief and panic. "Elon Musk?" one of them stammered. "Yes," Musk replied, his voice steady despite the situation. "And I've seen enough." The fallout from the incident was immediate and far-reaching. The video went viral within hours, sparking a nationwide conversation about homelessness, police brutality, and systemic inequality. Musk, true to his nature, didn't stop at merely exposing the issue. He announced a multi-billion-dollar initiative aimed at addressing homelessness, focusing on affordable housing, mental health services, and job training programs. He also pledged to fund comprehensive retraining for law enforcement, emphasizing empathy and de-escalation techniques. What started as a personal experiment to test the system turned into a movement that galvanized millions. Musk's experience as a disguised homeless man not only changed his perspective but also inspired tangible change in policies and attitudes. It was a reminder that even the wealthiest and most powerful individuals have a responsibility to lift others, and that sometimes understanding begins with walking in someone else's shoes, literally. The aftermath of Elon Musk's undercover experience rippled across the globe, stirring debates and igniting new initiatives. Yet, for Musk himself, the revelations were far from over. What began as a test of human decency and systemic flaws had unearthed layers of complexity he hadn't anticipated. Determined to see his mission through, Musk decided to extend his experiment. This time, he would explore the issue more deeply, not just by observing, but by engaging with the people whose lives were most affected by the systemic neglect he'd witnessed. Musk had always been known for his ability to approach problems with an engineering mindset, breaking them down into their smallest components and tackling each one with precision. However, he now realized that the issue of homelessness wasn't a mechanical problem to be fixed with algorithms or technological solutions alone. It was an intricate web of societal, psychological, and economic factors. To understand it fully, he needed to live it longer, to experience not just the surface-level struggles, but the everyday grind that defined life on the streets. For his second phase, Musk chose a city notorious for its homelessness crisis, San Francisco. A city of glaring contrasts, San Francisco's glittering tech towers stood mere blocks away from encampments where the destitute gathered in clusters of tents and tarps. Musk believed the city would serve as a microcosm for the nation's broader challenges, offering lessons applicable on a wider scale. This time, his team crafted an even more elaborate disguise. His scruffy appearance remained, but additional effort was put into aging his features, giving him a gaunt, worn-out look that bespoke years of hardship. He also adopted a limp, adding an air of frailty to his persona. The goal was clear: to blend so seamlessly into the fabric of the homeless community that no one, not even the most skeptical, would suspect his true identity. One evening, as Musk scavenged for cans to trade for change, a common practice among the homeless, he struck up a conversation with an older man named Bill. Bill was a Vietnam veteran who had been on the streets for over a decade, his face etched with lines of hardship and resilience. Over a shared meal of donated sandwiches, Bill recounted his life story, from his service in the military to the series of misfortunes that had left him homeless. "What keeps you going?" Musk asked, genuinely curious. Bill chuckled, a dry, mirthless sound. "Hope, I guess. Doesn't always make sense, but it's all I've got. You lose that, you're done." The conversation stayed with Musk. He realized that while the physical needs of the homeless, food, shelter, healthcare, were critical, the intangible elements like dignity, purpose, and hope were just as essential. Without them, even the most well-intentioned aid efforts would fall short. As the days turned into weeks, Musk became more integrated into the homeless community. He met people from all walks of life: former teachers, once successful entrepreneurs, artists, and laborers. Each had a unique story, but common threads emerged. Many had been derailed by a single catastrophic event, a job loss, a medical emergency, or the death of a loved one. For others, the spiral into homelessness was gradual, a series of setbacks that compounded over time until they found themselves with no way out. Musk also observed the informal networks of support that existed within the homeless community. People shared resources, looked out for one another, and formed bonds that were often stronger than those in the broader society. It was a stark contrast to the stereotype of the homeless as isolated and disorganized. These were people adapting to extreme circumstances with remarkable ingenuity and resilience. One night, while seeking shelter from the rain, Musk stumbled upon a small encampment beneath an overpass. The group welcomed him cautiously, offering him a spot by the fire and a portion of their limited food. As they sat talking, Musk noticed a young woman named Maria sketching in a notebook. Her drawings were intricate and full of life, a sharp contrast to the bleakness of their surroundings. "You're an artist?" Musk asked. Maria nodded. "Used to be, before everything." Her voice trailed off, but the pain in her eyes spoke volumes. Musk later learned that Maria had once been a promising art student, her dreams derailed by an abusive relationship and a series of financial hardships. Her story was yet another reminder of how easily anyone could fall into homelessness, given the right or wrong circumstances. Musk's experience wasn't without its dangers. On several occasions, he found himself in precarious situations, from altercations between desperate individuals to run-ins with law enforcement. One particularly harrowing night, he was nearly mugged by a group of teenagers but was saved by a homeless man named Derek, who intervened despite the risk to his own safety. "Why'd you do that?" Musk asked afterward, still shaken. Derek shrugged. "Out here, we've got to look out for each other. No one else will." The incident reinforced Musk's growing understanding of the paradoxes within the homeless community. The brutality of their environment juxtaposed with acts of profound kindness and solidarity. Musk's journey eventually led him to a deeper engagement with local organizations working to combat homelessness. He volunteered at shelters, participated in outreach programs, and even joined a grassroots advocacy group pushing for systemic change. These experiences provided him with a broader perspective on the challenges faced by both the homeless and the people trying to help them. He discovered that many shelters were overwhelmed, their resources stretched thin, mental health services were scarce, and navigating the bureaucracy of assistance programs was often so complicated that many gave up entirely. Meanwhile, societal stigma perpetuated a cycle of neglect, with the homeless frequently treated as nuisances rather than human beings in need of help. One evening, while attending a community meeting at a local church, Musk listened as advocates discussed the need for more affordable housing. The conversation sparked an idea. What if he could leverage his resources and influence to create a scalable, sustainable solution? What if, instead of merely observing and documenting the problem, he could engineer a way to address it at its root? Returning to his true identity after weeks on the streets was jarring. Musk felt a profound disconnect between the polished world of boardrooms and investors and the raw reality of life on the margins, yet he was determined to bridge the gap. Drawing on his experiences and insights, he began formulating a plan. The initiative, dubbed Project Reclaim, was announced with characteristic Musk flair. It combined cutting-edge technology, community involvement, and bold policy proposals to tackle homelessness from multiple angles. Central to the plan was the construction of modular 3D printed housing units that could be rapidly deployed in urban areas. These units were designed to be affordable, energy efficient, and customizable, providing a dignified living space for individuals and families in need. But Project Reclaim wasn't just about housing. Musk understood that a holistic approach was necessary. The initiative also included partnerships with mental health organizations, job training programs, and financial literacy workshops. Moreover, Musk pledged to fund a pilot program that provided a universal basic income to a group of homeless individuals, allowing them to regain stability without the immediate pressure of finding work. To address the systemic issues within law enforcement, Musk worked with local governments to implement comprehensive retraining programs. These programs emphasized empathy, conflict resolution, and community engagement, aiming to rebuild trust between police and vulnerable populations. The response to Project Reclaim was overwhelming. While some skeptics questioned its feasibility, many praised Musk for using his platform to drive meaningful change. The initiative attracted support from other tech leaders, philanthropists, and activists, creating a coalition that transcended political and ideological divides. As the first housing units were installed in San Francisco, Musk returned to the streets, this time as himself. He visited the encampments where he had lived undercover, reconnecting with the people who had shared their stories with him. Many were now beneficiaries of Project Reclaim, their lives transformed by the stability and opportunities it provided. Maria, the young artist Musk had met under the overpass, was one of the first residents of the new housing community. With a safe place to live and access to resources, she had resumed her art, even securing a gallery exhibition for her work. Derek, the man who had saved Musk from being mugged, was now employed as a community liaison for the project, using his first-hand experience to advocate for others. For Musk, the journey was far from over. He knew that the fight against homelessness would require sustained effort and innovation, but he was committed to seeing it through. His experiment had begun as a test of human nature and systemic flaws, but it had evolved into something far greater, a movement fueled by empathy, resilience, and the belief that no one should be left behind. And so, Elon Musk's unlikely journey from billionaire to undercover homeless man became a story not just of discovery, but of transformation. It was a reminder that true innovation isn't just about building rockets or cars, it's about building a better world. Elon Musk's Project Reclaim had begun to take root, not just as a logistical operation, but as a symbolic movement for systemic change. As the initiative expanded, the momentum sparked waves of interest and engagement from unexpected quarters. Cities across the United States began requesting partnerships, while international governments expressed interest in adapting the model to address their own homelessness crises. Yet for Musk, the most critical test was still ahead, proving that the solutions could scale sustainably without losing the deeply personal and human-centered approach that had shaped his original vision. To ensure this, Musk dove even deeper into the operational challenges. One key insight from his time on the streets had been the importance of tailoring solutions to the specific needs of different populations. For instance, veterans often required specialized mental health care and reintegration programs, while families with children faced unique hurdles in accessing education and childcare. The elderly homeless, a rapidly growing demographic, had yet another set of needs related to healthcare and mobility. Recognizing these distinctions, Project Reclaim evolved into a modular system, not just in terms of housing, but also in terms of services. Musk spearheaded the development of community hubs attached to each housing site. These hubs were designed to function as one-stop centers where residents could access mental health services, vocational training, legal aid, and even co-working spaces for those transitioning back into employment. The hubs also included communal kitchens and gardens, encouraging residents to build supportive networks and regain a sense of community. One particular breakthrough came when Musk's engineers adapted SpaceX technology to improve the living conditions of the housing units. The team repurposed thermal insulation materials originally designed for rockets to ensure that the modular homes were not only energy efficient, but also capable of withstanding extreme weather conditions. Solar panels were integrated into the designs, allowing the units to generate their own electricity and reduce operational costs. Water filtration systems, based on Tesla's advancements in environmental engineering, were added to provide clean water on site. These innovations drew attention not only for their ingenuity, but also for their practicality. Philanthropists, environmentalists, and urban planners hailed the initiative as a blueprint for sustainable urban living that could address not only homelessness, but also broader housing crises. As the project scaled, it encountered resistance from some quarters. Critics argued that the resources Musk was pouring into homelessness could be better spent elsewhere, or questioned whether private enterprise should be so deeply involved in what many considered a government responsibility. Others worried about the unintended consequences of creating centralized homeless communities, fearing that they might inadvertently lead to segregation or stigmatization. Musk, however, remained undeterred. He openly acknowledged the challenges and committed to transparency in addressing them. To foster accountability, he partnered with independent researchers to evaluate the project's outcomes. The data collected over time provided a robust picture of Project Reclaim's successes and shortcomings, enabling continuous improvement. A key aspect of the project's success was the role of the formerly homeless themselves. Musk's time undercover had taught him that the people most familiar with the problems were often the best equipped to design solutions. To this end, Project Reclaim established a governance model that included residents in decision-making processes. Formerly homeless individuals like Derek and Maria took on leadership roles, helping to shape policies and advocate for their communities. Their involvement not only lent credibility to the initiative, but also ensured that it remained grounded in the lived realities of those it sought to help. One of the most striking transformations was the story of a man named Terrence, whom Musk had met during his time in San Francisco. Terrence had been living on the streets for nearly 20 years, estranged from his family and battling substance abuse. Through Project Reclaim, he gained access to stable housing, therapy, and a peer support group. With his newfound stability, Terrence reconnected with his family and became a mentor to others navigating similar struggles. His journey from despair to hope became emblematic of the project's potential to change lives. Beyond individual stories, Project Reclaim began to reshape public perceptions of homelessness. Musk used his platform to share not only the successes of the initiative, but also the stories of resilience and humanity he had witnessed. Documentaries, social media campaigns, and public forums highlighted the dignity and potential of those who had been marginalized. Gradually, the narrative shifted from one of pity and judgment to one of solidarity and empowerment. The movement's influence extended far beyond its immediate beneficiaries. As Project Reclaim expanded, it created ripple effects in the broader economy. The construction of modular homes and community hubs generated thousands of jobs, from engineers and architects to construction workers and social workers. Musk worked to ensure that these jobs were inclusive, prioritizing the hiring of individuals from disadvantaged backgrounds, including the formerly homeless. The economic benefits didn't stop there. Cities participating in Project Reclaim reported significant reductions in public spending on emergency services. Hospitals saw fewer visits from individuals with chronic conditions exacerbated by homelessness, while law enforcement agencies reported declines in arrests for minor infractions like loitering. These savings reinforced the idea that addressing homelessness was not only a moral imperative, but also a practical investment. As the initiative gained traction, Musk began exploring ways to export its principles internationally. He partnered with organizations in Europe, Asia, and Africa to adapt the model to different cultural and economic contexts. In Japan, for example, Project Reclaim collaborated with local governments to address the unique challenges of elderly homelessness, creating housing units equipped with accessibility features and on-site healthcare services. In India, the focus was on integrating the modular housing concept into urban slums, offering residents an alternative to unsafe and overcrowded conditions. One of the most ambitious extensions of the initiative took place in Africa, where Musk saw an opportunity to address not only homelessness, but also broader issues of urban development. Working with local communities, Project Reclaim established entire neighborhoods built around the principles of sustainability and inclusivity. These neighborhoods became self-sufficient ecosystems, powered by renewable energy and equipped with schools, clinics, and small business hubs. Despite these successes, Musk knew that Project Reclaim was only a piece of the puzzle. Homelessness was a symptom of deeper systemic issues, from income inequality and lack of affordable housing to inadequate mental health care and social safety nets. To tackle these root causes, Musk began advocating for policy changes at the national and international levels. He used his influence to push for reforms in zoning laws, the expansion of mental health services, and the implementation of universal basic income. As Project Reclaim approached its 5th anniversary, it was clear that the initiative had become more than a homelessness solution. It was a catalyst for reimagining urban living. The modular housing units, originally designed for the homeless, found applications in disaster relief, refugee resettlement, and even sustainable housing developments for middle-income families. Musk's vision had sparked a broader movement towards scalable, sustainable, and inclusive housing solutions. Yet, for all the progress, Musk remained acutely aware of the work still to be done. The lessons he had learned during his time undercover continued to guide him, reminding him of the humanity at the heart of the issue. In meetings with world leaders, tech executives, and grassroots organizers, he often recounted the stories of people like Bill, Maria, Derek, and Terrence, using their experiences to ground lofty discussions in real-world realities. In a particularly poignant moment, Musk returned to the overpass in San Francisco, where he had once huddled for warmth. The encampment was gone, replaced by a thriving community hub surrounded by rows of modular homes. Children played in the communal garden, their laughter filling the air, while adults gathered in the hub to attend workshops or simply share a meal. Musk stood quietly, taking it all in. He knew the journey was far from over, but for the first time he felt a sense of fulfillment that no rocket launch or groundbreaking innovation had ever brought him. This was a different kind of legacy, a testament to the power of empathy, resilience, and the unwavering belief that no problem was too big to solve when approached with both heart and ingenuity. As he left the site, Musk's mind buzzed with ideas for the future. He envisioned a world where homelessness was not merely alleviated but eradicated, where technology served humanity's most pressing needs, and where stories of resilience like those he had witnessed were no longer extraordinary but commonplace. The journey had begun with a disguise, a piece of cardboard, and a bold idea. It had grown into a movement that changed lives, challenged perceptions, and reshaped the way the world thought about homelessness. But for Musk, it was more than a story of transformation. It was a promise, to himself, to the people he had met, and to the world, that he would not stop until everyone had a place to call home. As Project Reclaim moved forward into its next phase, Elon Musk's attention turned to the long-term sustainability of the initiative. While the modular housing units and community hubs had proven effective, he knew that creating permanent systemic change required a deeper commitment to economic integration and societal reinvention. Musk began exploring ways to empower communities to become self-reliant, reducing their dependence on external funding and support. One of the more ambitious ideas involved incorporating micro-enterprise opportunities directly into the Project Reclaim housing model. Musk recognized that employment and purpose were essential components of rebuilding lives. To this end, he introduced a network of shared workspaces within the community hubs, tailored for diverse skill sets. For those with technical backgrounds, the hubs offered coding boot camps and remote workstations linked to partner companies. For artisans like Maria, there were spaces equipped with tools for crafting and design, allowing them to produce and sell their creations through an integrated e-commerce platform. In addition to workspaces, Musk launched a micro-lending program to provide seed funding for small businesses within the community. Residents with entrepreneurial aspirations could apply for loans, receive mentorship, and build ventures ranging from food services to tech startups. These businesses not only created employment opportunities within the housing sites, but also fostered a sense of ownership and pride among the residents. Education became another cornerstone of Musk's expanded vision. Project Reclaim partnered with local schools and universities to create satellite campuses within the community hubs. Children who had once struggled to attend school due to unstable living conditions now had access to quality education steps away from their homes. For adults, the campuses offered vocational training, GED programs, and even pathways to higher education. Musk believed that education was the ultimate equalizer, a tool that could break cycles of poverty and enable individuals to contribute meaningfully to society. As the initiative grew, it attracted attention from some of the world's most innovative minds. Musk invited thought leaders, architects, and sociologists to collaborate on reimagining urban planning and social infrastructure. The result was a series of experimental neighborhoods that blended modular housing with cutting-edge designs for sustainability, public transportation, and green spaces. These reclaimed communities became living laboratories, demonstrating how cities could integrate affordable housing without sacrificing aesthetics or functionality. If you liked this video, please give it a like and subscribe to our channel. Also, leave your comments below and tell us, what are your thoughts on Elon Musk disguising himself as homeless to test the police? We want to hear from you. Thank you for watching and see you next time.